On it! Come on! Got it! Glad you made it.
I wouldn't miss this party for the world, buddy. So, now that we've got your floorboards back, what's next?
Don't you have a doppelganger problem?
Yeah, I do.
Well, I have a lead in the Philippines.
Alright, let's go check it out.
Welcome to another episode of the Hellbound Podcast. I think this is episode 7 now. And how are you doing, Michael?
I am okay, and to introduce myself, for those of you who don't know who I am D-list actor, C-list aspiring actor, Michael Chan.
And I'm Alex Blackburn, filmmaker and Hellbound Horror Festival founder. I've changed it up.
Oh, you changed it up. You changed it up just because you heard me talk about my D-list creds.
Yeah, I love it, man. I've got one really good credit, or two actually, because I was a runner on Band of Brothers, and I worked on a Pierce Brosnan feature film that no one saw. But it was really great. I got to meet some great people, and so that was a
For those of you
fun time.
who are interested in seeing my work for free, I am in a horror comedy Christmas sketch or short film called You Gift, I Gift. Is on the Pandoodles YouTube channel. Pandoodles is a fantastic group of Asian creatives who are making short films of various kinds, most of which are horror based. So definitely check them out and check me out. You Gift, I Gift.
Yeah, Pandoodle's production values are excellent. Really are.
Oh, they're great. They have some of the best people working on it.
And that's what happens when creative minds come together. They've got a common goal. Mm-hmm. They just achieve so much with so little, or that the perception it is so little, but the production value is so high.
What a lot of people don't know is, like, if you actually watch You Gift, I Gift, Millie, who's the actress who plays my girlfriend, we're like sitting on a couch, and behind us, like, the wall is supposed to be like black and it has Christmas decorations and stuff, right? What people don't know is that the house actually belongs to one of the people on the crew, and behind the black, which we used like a curtain to cover that wall, it's like a bunch of giant Chinese characters, like auspicious characters, and like a mountain range, but it's like made of acrylic, and it's like carved out and then like nailed into the or screwed into the wall. It's pretty epic, and we had a hard time, even with the black, to not have the back, like the stuff on the wall, show through the black when the light hit it. It was a challenge, but it was a learning experience.
That's it. When you're shooting on a location and you're kind of tight budgets and you can't hire a very specific place, it's you get creative lighting wise and production wise to hide things. Like, I'd love to shoot something here, but everything's really tight in terms of space, so it is very tricky.
But you can get some kind of like really claustrophobic shots, I think.
Yeah, that's true. When it's only me, my wife, my little dog, it gets interesting where you have to go in terms of story. So I wanted to start our episode off talking about our listeners, actually, and where our listeners are from. So I'm gonna tell you the countries, Michael. So wonderful. From our first episode to our 7th, we've had, until our 6th actually, we've had a bunch of consistent listeners, which is great. Let me just find the stats.
So this is for all the math and stats nerds out there. You know who you are.
So we've had listeners from the UK, United States, Canada, Indonesia, Brazil, India, the Philippines, and Sweden. And there is 1% of our listeners from unknown countries.
Unknown country. That's clearly where the doppelganger Michael Chans are residing.
maybe that can maybe where our listeners are can feature into our intros.
Yeah, yeah, maybe we can do that.
And we can get like a Russian based episode, and you hear that kind of very kind of 80s rhetoric, Red Army music
Oh
in an
my
episode, and
god.
it's snowing and all of that. That'd be great.
What, like a Russian Michael Chan? I can't even do a Russian accent.
I,
Everyone says
I would,
"Niet."
I'd pay to listen to that.
No,
So I'm kind of gonna.
vodka.
We've got a bit of a free flowing structure to our episodes, so I'm just gonna list off. I'm not list off. That sounds terrible. I'll cut that out. But I'm just gonna.
Don't cut that out. Makes it more believable. Come on, people want to hear the way we talk with each other, man. That's
Yeah,
what
that's
they like
true.
about us. It's endearing.
So I've got a tiny bit of inverted fu, if that makes any sense.
So
It should make
an
an
uff.
yeah.
Okay, let's do it. Let's do this. It's an uff.
So we've got some community watch suggestions that came through Instagram. A couple of questions on there. I've got a horror story about the oldest hotel in Chester during COVID times. I'm not sure if we're going to talk about what our aims are for the audio intros or what we're going to do long term. So
What
maybe
are you talking about? Those are. How do we know it's long term? That's the Michael Chan doppelgangers coming after us, and we're just like, found footage stuff. It's real, people.
I want to kind of talk about possibility of having guests on, and we've got some filmmaking guests that we know and love, and some people who work in the industry and at the highest level we're kind of reaching out to at the moment. And the time I'm going to tell a little, it's not scary, but it's an odd story of when I saw Jesus's face in a painting that I did.
What?
Yeah, so we'll hold off on that until the end. It's not going to make you a true believer or anything, but it was very odd.
Well, I have a quick horror story.
Okay.
So I went to Fan Expo many years ago, and at that point, I had just finished the Zombie Survival Guide by Max Brooks. Really liked it. For some weird reason, I never actually turned to the absolute last page where you can see a photo of him. And when we were at Fan Expo, I found out that he was going to be at a booth signing autographs. So I brought my book, went to the booth, and there was nobody in line. So I thought maybe he wasn't there. So I go up to the gentleman sitting at the booth, who I thought was an attendant. I'm like, "Hello, excuse me, sir. When will Max Brooks be here to sign?" He was Max Brooks. He turned my book to the last page and showed me his photo. That's a different kind of horror story. Okay, that is a psychological, traumatic horror story filled with social anxiety, embarrassment, and my wife laughing at me for the next 3 years. Yeah,
That's horrific. I want more of these Michael Chan stories, like losing your swimming trunks to the swimming pool, all of that. That's all gravy to me.
And just before we move on, my wife, speaking of my wife, since I just made her out to be a little bit mean, she's also extremely loving and nice. She bought me this year, 2021, during Halloween, she bought me a box of limited edition Monster Mash cereal from General Mills. It has Frankenberries, Count Chocula bats, Boo Berries, and then like monster heads. Actually, okay, dude, phrasing, but aside here, it doesn't say monster heads, it says monster head. Guys, this is the kids cereal. General Mills, take note, monster head is not something you want on the side of your box. But anyways, yes, that is what is in here. It's Count Chocula, Boo Berry, and Frankenberry, all three in one box, and it was delicious.
That's great
Absolutely
packaging
delicious.
as well.
Oh, it's
Love that.
fantastic packaging. I don't think you can find this anymore in stores, but
Oh, that's
it
awesome.
was this exciting horror-ish food that my wife got me, and I'm very thankful for. So there you go. She's nice and she's not so nice. She is so gonna kill me after it.
Yeah, she will. She absolutely will.
I'll
So
just have to find a doppelganger to put in front of her, and I'll still be alive.
I think you're going to need a cardboard cutout of each of these to scale. That would be
Yes.
hilarious. So I've got a bit of UF. Do we decide that inverted FU is UF?
Yes.
So you showed us, or audibly or visually to me, the unboxing of your ghost trap. Have you still got that on your desk, or you have it near you?
Yeah, it's on my desk.
I've actually unboxed these already. These are some of the things I've got.
So you're also reverse unboxing? Come on, man.
Putting it back in the box.
Doesn't mean you have to reverse unbox.
So I'm not going to light this, but this is the incense burner. So this is the ghost incense burner.
Okay, so what he has in his hands looks like a full-sized Ghostbusters ghost trap. And he's opening, closing the trap.
So it doesn't light up, but it smokes through the gaps in the vents on the other side.
Oh, so what do you put in it? Just
so you put incense cones. So you light one end,
okay,
and then you put the incense cones just in that little brass.
Yeah, there's
in there, little brass cup.
There's a hole in there,
and then it's got weathering and everything, and the actual design of this is really great.
Yeah, the details are fantastic on.
And then you get this little
base on it.
It's a very cool stand for it as well.
So yeah, it actually comes off the stand.
Yeah.
You to kind of hold it up like an actual trap, which is really cool.
One little note on the Ghostbusters packaging I've noticed for some of the toys. And when we were talking about the toys and why a certain character's toy wasn't out yet, it's not the greatest packaging I've ever seen in terms of printing, and it's across the board. It's a very odd thing I noticed, but anyway, that's beside the point. But this is fantastic, and I have it smoking underneath here. So I'm going to do a proper little video at some point. So just underneath the lamp in here.
He's pointing his finger on the screen at where it's supposed to go, but basically it looks like it's supposed to go on his bookshelf.
Okay, and check this out. This is Vicky's. I bought her.
Oh my god, it's a Stay Puft pillow.
Yeah, with all of them clambering to be on the pillow.
Oh my god, one of them has a pencil and stabbing it into another one's face. That is just amazing.
Isn't that cool? And I bought the tea mug as well.
It's a Stay Puft pillow. It's basically a bunch of Stay Puft Marshmallow Men, like little mini ones. Yeah. Just all trying to cram themselves onto the design.
And I got the slightly nicer pillow. It's actually suede as well.
Oh, it's suede on the back. That's nice.
And one last little thing is, this is not actually no. I've got another piece of extra merch here.
Ooh.
So if Sony would like to sponsor us, or Ghostbusters Afterlife, if Bron would like to sponsor us, that'd be great. This is one of the T-shirts from the film.
Oh my god!
And I had to get this.
Are you a god? Question mark.
The T-shirts on the official merchandise store online actually had spoilers in them in terms of the imagery. So you know who the Keymaster is.
Yes.
To a certain degree, without spoiling things. So yeah, it kind of gave those things away, which is a bit ridiculous.
I find oftentimes anything that has toys, or merch tends to have a lot spoiled, especially Marvel. Marvel likes to release Lego sets of things in movies before the movies come out.
Yeah.
Bad Marvel.
It's the bad Marvel.
Same with DC.
Yeah.
Bad DC.
Some of the quality of the merch online is a little bit hit miss, but the one I really want is the Stay Puft cookie jar. Just the idea of that is glorious, isn't it?
That is a glorious idea.
Because I want that in the kitchen, but I don't think Vicky would allow me to have that in the kitchen. So, because it would take up so much room.
You can have it in your room.
Yeah, I'd have it in here. I'd just put another shelf on the wall just for that. Yeah, that's my kind of little bit of FU is about the merch. And
you mean the UF?
The UF.
Well, I have a forward FU. It's okay. Like basically a brand new Magic the Gathering card game set has just come out. It's called Innistrad Crimson Vow, and it is technically vampire/horror based. And our good friend Dave Kendall is actually one of the artists featured in this set. And I have a box here with some booster packs in it, and I'm trying to open it to see if I can get any of Dave's art. So for those of you who don't know, we actually had Dave as a judge at Hellbound at the festival. Also, for those of you who like Dredd or Judge Dredd, he is one of the artists in the graphic novels, and
And the art
his
is
art is
incredible. It's
so I have
incredible.
a booster pack here, and then I'm going to open the booster pack.
Are you gonna put these on TikTok eventually when you open them?
Normally I would, but you know, I'm just opening one. This pack is not going on TikTok. Whoa! What is? I've never seen anything like this. It's like a full card that's just art. It's not even a playable card. What is this? And it's Mina Harker, Magali Villeneuve. I'm guessing
Mina
that's.
Harker.
Oh, it's Crimson Vow art series. That's so cool. So now they even have just cards that have just art.
That's awesome. Look at that.
This is a beautiful piece of it's a lady in what looks like Victorian wear, but she's holding a sword in what looks like a creepy enchanted forest. It's beautiful. Wow. And like I have a land here, a forest land, basic land card, and they're not going with this typical land cards that they have in other sets. This is actually drawn for this set. It's like
That's
like here the forest is like a haunted tree thing, like kind of like from Evil Dead, and it's black and white. This is so cool. And
does it say who Mina Harker is in that on that card?
No, it's this art series, so I'm trying to figure out who's the artist. Is it Magali Villeneuve? Like right here it says that this basic land is who's Pig Hands. I don't know who Pig Hands is. Or like there's a card I just pulled called Supernatural Rescue. It's a white card. Anastasia Ovchinnikova. Another one, Griff Rider, Yongge Choi. Parish Blade Trainee. Ooh, she is fighting a werewolf. Look at that. It's a white card. And this is by Zara Alfonso. Valora Stance. This guy's fighting some snaky ghoul thing.
And for all horror fans that possibly don't know who Mina Harker is, she is the fiancée and wife of Jonathan Harker, one of the main characters from Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Oh, there you go.
So she's played by Winona Ryder in Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula.
Sweet. Rending Flame. So you have like a flame demon thing here. It's a red card. Weary Prisoner. So, ooh, sexy man in a dungeon.
Look at that lighting. Looks great.
Right? This one's really good. A piece of art. It's a black card by Marie Magny. Oh, this is a vampire lady with 2 glasses of blood, and it's called Gluttonous Guest.
Oh, that's awesome.
That is really cool. I'm so sad. I still don't have any Dave Kendall cards. Unholy Officiant. It's a vampire cleric. Look at this. That's so cool.
That's superb.
Yeah.
Love that.
Sundown Pass. This is a weird. What is it? The land. It's a white-red land by Johannes Voss. It's like a creepy red, like bloody mountain. And then Catilda, Dawnheart Martyr. It is a church. It looks like there's blood everywhere, and then there's like a holy angel-looking thing. Oh no, wait! It says Spirit Warlock. There you go. Still not Dave Kendall. I'm really sad. No Dave Kendall yet. And then Stitched Assistant. Oh, this one is creepy, man. This one is super creepy. It's a zombie, and it's a zombie with like robotic Dr. Octopus arms right there, and it's a holographic card.
Oh, I
So,
love that.
oh, and then for some reason I have. You can use this card to represent a double-faced card. It's just blank. And for some reason, it actually has an artist on here. Johan Grenny. Hey, Johan! You're really good with your whites and grays. It's just blank.
Imagine you have to use a black light on that.
Oh, it must be the background. There's some kind of background behind it, but it's covered. Aww. I'm sorry, Dave. I couldn't get a card of yours in this pack, and I'm not opening another one because I don't want to waste more of our time. All right, everybody, get Innistrad, Crimson Vow. Even if you don't play Magic, these are beautiful. These are, like, as a horror fan, I'm in love with these cards. I will collect the hell out of this. But if any of you are in Toronto or surrounding area, I do play Magic. let's duel.
That's awesome. That is really awesome. Actually, whilst we're talking about art and horror art and fantasy, I'm going to show you something. I'm just going to take my headphones off 1 sec.
He adjusts his pants
I'm going to smash this now.
as it was falling down. He takes a large frame off the wall and meanders back to his seat. He sits down, grabs his headphones and puts them back on, and now he laughs into the microphone. Sorry, I wasn't narrating you.
That's fine. That's fine. We're going to keep that. I'm going to listen to that. So there's collectomanias in the UK, like festivals, not festivals, but micro comic cons, and there's guests. And I went to a screening of Freddy vs. Jason with Freddy and Jason, doing a Q&A at the end, which was amazing. And then also we had Joey Pantoliano doing a Q&A after a screening of the original version of The Matrix, which was epic. But I bought a piece of art 20 years ago. It's 20 years now. And I've had it signed by a few people in terms of the stars of the films on this. And it's very horror based. And I bought it from Rob Larson. Rob Larson's a talented artist. I'm not sure if he's still with us, but he's an absolute super dude. Check this out.
Okay.
Really heavy.
Oh my god, what is this? What is... Oh, wow. It is a composite featuring a whole ton of horror icons.
We've got it signed by Chucky here.
Yeah, Chucky, Nosferatu, Dracula.
So signed by Freddy and
Freddy, yeah, Michael, Frankenstein's monster, Pinhead, Pennywise. Wow, I can keep going. This is all the in the middle is what? The Exorcist.
The Exorcist, yeah.
Oh my god, this is a beautiful piece.
Nice, isn't it? So it's limited to 2,000, and
okay, you got to take a photo of that and put it on our Instagram for people to see what we're both like drooling over.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I'll do that right now. I'll take the photo before I forget.
He's doing it while we're recording. Thanks, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
You guys have to see this. You guys have to go to our Instagram.
It's pretty cool.
Hellbound podcast. Is it the Hellbound or just Hellbound?
I think it's the. I'm going to check that now.
The Hellbound podcast. At the Hellbound. Yeah, you have to say at nowadays. Oh, I'm an old man. You know I'm an old man when I don't even know how to like plug social media stuff.
Let's have a little look.
But yeah, go to our Instagram because Alex has taken a photo of it, and you peeps need to see this.
Just on Instagram, actually, do you think it's a mistake? And I'm going to put this out to the audience as well. That I've done a separate Instagram account for the Hellbound podcast, or should it just have lived on the Hellbound Horror Festival account?
No, I will give you my personal opinion. From even before we started recording our first episode, I already felt we needed a separate account.
Yeah.
Because to me, I hope that both the festival and the podcast will last forever. But if the festival, like you had to take a hiatus, right? For a year,
health.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, and for mental well-being reasons.
Yeah, I just think, or if it has to end altogether, I hope not. But for whatever reason, at least we have the podcast, so they should be separate entities and cross promote on each other. Now, something else I'm kind of hoping to bring back, and this time, at least for now, we can probably cross post on both Hellbound Festival and Hellbound Podcast Instagrams, is the cosplay. Since we are not having a festival this year, if any of you listeners have any horror or horror-based cosplays you would like featured on our social media, that is at the Hellbound Podcast and Hellbound Horror Festival. That's right, Alex?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry, on the festival for Instagram, it's Hellbound Horror Festival.
Yeah, Hellbound Horror Festival. Yeah. And then, you know what? Just look in our description. There you go. Shortcut.
Everything's in the bio. Yeah, everything's in the bio.
If you have cosplays or costumes, please send them to us. It could be anything. Like it, if you have a cool bit of horror makeup you did, do that. Like send us photos. We'd love to feature you.
I'd love to speak to the cosplayers in the future episodes with you and I
Absolutely.
talking to
If
them in
some of
costume
you
would
are,
be amazing.
yeah, like if some of you want to talk about your horror cosplays, if that's your thing, like you do horror cosplay, we'd love to interview you.
Absolutely. So I'm going to move on swiftly on
Yes,
to our
please.
community watch suggestions. And
Yes.
we have two. One is from one of our listeners, and the film they recommend is called Black Mountainside. It's a Canadian horror film.
I'm embarrassed that I have never heard of it.
And it was made, I think it's 2015. I can't pronounce the director's surname. His first name's Nick. Nick's really simple. But Nick, the name is simple to pronounce, I meant, but I can't pronounce his surname, so I'm not even going to try because I'll just butcher it. It's about after a crew of archaeologists discover a monument in the Arctic North, they start exhibiting signs of madness. Stranded and blocked from communication, the situation quickly spirals out of control. So that's Black Mountainside. It's listed as 2014 and 2015, so I think it's produced in 2014 and released either in 2015 or 2016, saying so. I think we should check that out and talk about that in our next episode.
Absolutely.
We're also going to be talking next episode about Ian Rayburn's film My Friend Wally. That's going to be very interesting. That's kind of on a private viewing stage at the moment because it's going to all the festivals. So I've sent a video review to Ian just to help the cause of the film. But Michael and I are going to watch that together at some point some point soon, hopefully for the next episode. And our second recommendation is 3 films by Uncanny Pictures. They made 3 films, and they shot, I think it was 1,000. I'm going to say €1,000 for all 3, and the production value of what they make is fantastic, especially cinematography wise. It looks fantastic. It looks brilliant. The first one was shot in 2 hours, then the second one was shot in 4 to 5 hours, and yeah, their production in terms of they produce the hell out of the film before they actually make them, and then they go and shoot them, and they shoot them very quickly. And yeah, we'll put links out to those once Michael and I have checked those out. And yeah, we'll do some posts. We'll probably have Cindy on the podcast soon to talk about her work. She's a great writer. So Cindy Stenberg, shout out to you. But yeah, so a couple of interesting recommendations. Some micro budget films and Black Mountainside. Moving on, I'd like to tell you a little horror story that I heard. This is someone else's story. I wish this was mine. So Chester is a very old city, and it dates back to, I've got to say, it's Roman times, so it's very, very old city. It had fortified walls. There's a hotel in the center of Chester called the Grosvenor Hotel. It's been there for a very long time as well. And they've got, I think it's Edwardian or Victorian boilers in the basement. So they've got very old parts, they've got very new parts. Like a lot of hotels, they build upon what was already there. So I went there to scope out a shoot for a fashion show I'm going to do a live stream for next Wednesday for the university I work for. And the events coordinator, the comms officer was there. And out of curiosity, we asked her, what happened to the hotel during kind of COVID times, especially the first and second lockdowns. And she said the whole hotel was mothballed, and there was 4 rooms that had separate heating, and the boilers had been turned off. The electricity had been turned off for the first time since the hotel had been opened at least 100 years ago. First time everything had been turned off. So because you just don't turn things off, because you don't know what's going to happen to the whole system.
Yeah.
So I said, what happened? They've got like almost like bulkheads on a ship in terms of stopping water getting through, but they've got like security barriers at different parts of the hotel. It's for safety and for fires and everything. And they closed everything. And she said that 4 people throughout the almost 2 years alternated which days they were in. And they had only 4 rooms in this massive hotel. And this hotel's old, really old. Beautiful, beautiful hotel, kind of super high end. I think it's 5 stars, 4 or 5 stars. And yeah, she said, she said I'd be there 3 days a week, and all we'd have to do every 2 hours, you could stay there, don't pay anything to stay there, you still get paid your full wage, and all I had to do was walk around the hotel. And she said it would take about 45 minutes to go through every corridor, every place a guest could get access to. Everything else was locked down just to make sure there's no squatters or everything was okay.
Yeah.
And what she didn't say until the end was there was no power and no lights in the hotel. And she'd have to do this every 2 hours. And she was given a torch and rechargeable batteries. I was like, that sounds like the scariest thing I've ever heard of. So imagine going down corridors.
And just really quickly for our North American listeners, torch is flashlight.
Not flashlight, flashlight.
What kind of show are we?
It's that kind of show, Michael.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yes, but yes.
Anyway, yeah. So you can just see it in a horror film or that film Ghost Ship where they're walking around these corridors.
Yeah.
And so she was never a believer of ghosts until she worked through that period of time for almost 2 years. And her daughter at times would be literally no one else in the hotel. No one else apart from her and possibly the daughter who was studying GCSEs at the time. And she'd do TikToks in the dark and try and scare herself down these kind of ancient hallways. And she said all the windows were closed and no heating on or anything. So you have this huge jacket on, walking around like it's the Antarctic inside the hotel. And she would walk through cold areas. So she would step into an area and she'd feel a gust of cold in her face in a corridor that had no direct windows, no air conditioning on, nothing. And then I said, do you believe in ghosts now? She said, yeah, absolutely. And there was security that worked at nightclubs across Chester that would be there from midnight until 6 a.m. So they'd have other people come in and do all those searches every 2 hours. And 2 of those security officers there, so they're bouncers that would be outside nightclubs and they're supposed to be hardened people, quote unquote. One of them refused to come back because they swear they heard things in the hotel in this old ballroom, and they refused to come back after one night of working there.
Oh my god.
So yeah, that's my little horror story for this week.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? Wouldn't that be so scary?
That is terrifying.
I used to work in a cinema that no longer exists. The building isn't there anymore. And when we used to lock up at, say, 2 o'clock in the morning or 2:30, you'd have to put chains around the fire exit doors just so people don't break in. And that was a great way to scare people, having these really heavy chains, especially in these big auditoriums. And you go, "Whoa!" and then just make really kind of old ghost sounds with these huge chains. That was hilarious doing that.
Oh my goodness.
So what do you think, Michael, about having guests on our show?
I mean, we've already invited possible cosplaying guests.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
So
the cat out of the bag with that one. Yeah.
I would love to get some guests.
So what I'm thinking for that is a way to lean into the horror, especially the horror movie genre, is to have guests on, and for them to possibly this might change. But for them to pick a horror film for us to talk about that we haven't necessarily seen, the three of us can talk about it, then we can talk about what they do or the kind of films they love. How does that sound?
That sounds like an interesting concept. I never considered something like that, where we all decide to watch a film. Would it be a film that they're involved in, or but if if they're not in film, then it'll just be something they're interested in.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think it allows us all manner of guests, not necessarily just kind of horror based or people that work in the horror kind of world. So I think I'll be a nice little in. We
should definitely consider that.
There's a chap I know, a horror filmmaker, Balraj Kang. Amazing name. I'm gonna bleep all of this if I've got his name wrong. But he's like, I want to make sure everyone's seen The Thing, and then we want to talk about The Thing. And that's a personal favorite of mine. So
I was just gonna say, you attempted his name, but not Nick from Canada.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know. I think it's a Polish surname, but I just cannot pronounce it.
It's all right. It's all right.
It's because I've spoken to Balraj before, Um,
Ah,
so yeah,
you know,
I'm more
Nick
likely.
is now gonna just have to rename himself, take on a
Yeah.
new like industry name, Nick from Canada.
Sorry, Nick. We are going to check your
Sorry, Nick.
film out, Black Mountain Side, soon. So I'm sorry about that. The last little kind of horror story I want to tell you, but it's not really horror, but it's a very strange thing I saw. I'd say 1994. You know, when you paint on one side of a piece of paper or a piece of art card and you fold it over and you get like a butterfly effect in terms of just the mirroring.
Yeah.
When I did that, and I was into acrylics and all sorts of art, I used to love painting. Nothing in particular, just like kind of landscapes, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I painted what I thought was a really nice part of a landscape, and then I just wanted to kind of mirror it. When I folded this piece of art card over, I think it was, I'm sure it was 94. It was 94 because I was part of a chess club at that time. I wasn't a great player, but I really loved the game. I folded this art card over. When I opened it up, I saw the outline of Jesus's face.
What?
Yeah. It was a very strange moment because wasn't ever a huge believer. But yeah, I wish I'd kept that now.
I mean, that is super cool, man.
Yeah, it's very strange, isn't it?
It just goes along with like Jesus toast.
The Turin shroud.
Because you've heard about that one, right?
Yeah.
Had Jesus on their toast.
Yeah, it was a very strange moment that stuck with me for such a long time. Obviously, before we wrap up, have you got any recommendations? Anything you're watching at the moment, possibly horror based?
Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. There you go. I'm terrible. That was shot in Toronto. I actually know people in that.
Oh wow! And what's that about?
Set in the 60s, and basically there's like a town myth about a girl. I'm trying not to give too much away.
Okay.
Locked in a house. She wasn't raised properly. Anyways, a bunch of kids end up in the house and they find her book. Things start happening when they read the horror stories that she wrote.
I'd like to. I remember hearing the title about that.
Yeah, like on the poster, you'll see like a scarecrow looking thing. Yeah, that thing's terrifying in the film.
Ah, yes. Is it a series of short stories?
Kind of. I mean, it follows these kids, right?
Yeah.
But they're reading her book.
That's very cool. I'd like to see that. My recommendation is Blood Red Sky. It's a film I mentioned earlier. That's a Netflix original. Netflix originals are very hit and miss. But this one is a horror film set on an airplane. And I'm going to read the little descriptions on here. When a group of terrorists hijack an overnight transatlantic flight, a mysteriously ill woman must unleash a monstrous secret to protect her young son. That's a German film. But yeah, Dominic Purcell from Prison Break and Graham McTavish. And then most of the cast are kind of unknown, for me at least unknown. But I'd highly recommend it. Really, really interesting way to kind of set a horror film on a plane. Really liked it, and yeah, big fan actually. Yeah, big fan of the film. I think that's it, mate. I think
that's it.
I think we're
done. We're both like exhausted now from chatting. Your face is like even more pink.
Yeah. It's just about cooked. It's lobster pink now, or lobster orange, or whatever you call it.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, we're all good. Well, have a good one, Michael, and I'll see you on the other side.
Yeah, and good night to you all. And don't forget to follow or subscribe to our podcast on all major podcasting platforms. Recommend us to your friends and all you peeps from that unknown country that listen to our podcast. I'm coming to get you.